We're going to talk about the Checkatrade Trophy in a moment. What's your gut feeling in this one? Is it going?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's not worked out.
Have they just messed with something that didn't need messing about?
I think it needed a revamp. I don't disagree with that. I think, because the interest wasn't there, but they've just found a way to make it even worse, where the interest in it is just... I think the interest in it is people like to complain about it. I think that's just the main interest that it has now. I just can't see it. So I think it's only a trial year, this, but you can't see him keeping it. You just can't. It's just not worked out well. And we're only, 2 group games into it, so... shows that in the long term it just can't be popular.
No, it can't be. I mean, attendance is... It's almost like it's fashionable, like you said, just to kick it now. Don't go. You're almost protesting, but I don't know. I mean, we saw Bradford sub their goalie off after 45 seconds.
Had a poor 45 seconds, as was explained.
He did. I remember Gary Megson did that for Sheffield Wednesday at Bradford, and he got absolutely pilloried for it. But he was ahead of his time, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. No one thought of it then.
No. Bradford are out of their group, though, so I guess that's a good thing for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think it's the whole under-23s thing. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it's down to, this introduction of the under-20. Or, see, they're not under-23s teams, as I've been told. They're not, because they play first team. They've only got to have 6 players as under-23, so they're not technically under-23 teams, and they should be referred to as, Bradford's case, Stoke City. Not Stoke City under-23s, Stoke City, but like when we were there last week, we cut to, I think it was Tom Feeney was at Bradford, and it was dead. It was dead. You know when you usually cut across to someone, and like when me and Sam go to you across at Leeds United games, it's right, there's a crowd, there's a bit of noise in the background. It was dead. No one was there. There's just the interest isn't there. No,
and that's from a side that are getting 18, 19, 20,000 at home on a regular basis. So, it just seems like it's in a little bit of trouble, the old EFL Trophy. What do you think they'll do? Go back to as it was before, North and South, and get rid of the 23s or whatever they're called? The reserves?
I'm not sure. They seem adamant on doing it, didn't they? Because they had the initial proposal of introducing them into the league and making a league free or whatever it was. They've now confirmed that won't happen in terms of the youth sides, B teams, whatever you want to call them, won't be introduced. So they seem adamant at bringing them in some aspect, but I don't know. You can't carry on. You can't carry on the way it is. With 2 games in, with 2 rounds into it, and it's already getting absolutely hounded. People hate it. Fans aren't going. And the case is, what if 2 of these under-23 teams, as we're calling for this purpose, get to Wembley? Then what? Then what? I think it just shows it's failed, because some of them are doing quite well.
Well, I'm looking down the list. Leicester City, they're through to the next round, guaranteed. They've won 2 out of 2. Reading have won 2 out of 2. Swansea could still progress. Chelsea struggling, but could still get through.
All their players are out on loan, though.
Yeah, West Ham United are doing what so they're emulating the first team, because they're not winning either. Southampton, they could go through. Norwich City had been a lot of love for them. 11 goals in 2 games for them. They've put Barnet and Peterborough to the cleaners, so they're going to be a handful, aren't they, going through to the next stage?
Yeah, and it's that imagine it, because it's going to be played at Wembley as ever. Imagine if 2 of these under-23s teams will ever get there. It's going to be... We talk about atmosphere and low attendances, especially if you're, I don't know, Norwich, and we say, one of the northern under-23s teams go. You're going to go to Wembley to watch what is going to be a youth side play? Probably not. But, like you said, some of them are doing very well. It's kind of that... I don't know how to see it. Is it worrying that these teams are getting beaten by youth teams of Premier League sides, or is that good for the future of the game? Because I said the whole thing they're doing it is for that future of the English team, the English national team.
I'm looking at that, and Nuadiko's been playing for Wolves. He's got 2 goals. Nuadiko is a first-team footballer. He's just been injured. Josh Murphy at Norwich has played plenty of football. 5 goals in 2 games. How is that helping anybody?
I have no idea, and I can't believe the first-team rule as well. We've got to play so many first-team players, whatever. It doesn't matter. Surely if you're coming up against what is going to be Premier League reserves, then it's up to you what team you play, because it's a bit weird that they're going, right, you have to play your first team, you have to play so many first-team regular players. However, you'll be playing against teams who have players with no Premier League appearances this season who are just getting this as game time. it's just got so many flaws to it. It just can't work in the long term, surely.
I'm looking at Northern Group A, where all 4 teams have got 3 points. I wonder if it'll be like Super Sunday, the last game of the season, where everyone will be hanging on to their radios, getting updates, or, well, actually, no one will be bothered, and it doesn't matter. If we get through, we get through.
I think no one will be bothered. And why are they changing the rules on it as well? What's this penalty shootout after 90 minutes thing about, and you still get a point? It's what they do in American sports, isn't it, where you go to overtime and you get a point if you lose.
Well, they used to do it in the football, but they've binned it off now. They have proper football now, don't they, where you can actually draw. They've worked out, in football, you sometimes draw. Sometimes
it's just going to happen. But what's that about, that it's going straight to penalties? It just kind of... I love penalties. Penalty shootouts are great, but in terms of... I don't know, because it usually means something. It means, right, you're in a cup, quarter-final, whatever... You've gone to penalties. Saw it with Leeds this season, right? That's it. You're in a cup, in a group stage of a game. Oh, we've lost. Never mind. There's always next week. Who cares? It's a weird concept. I just can't see it working in the long term.
Yeah, people belittle. They used to pick on the JPT or whatever it was called, but the teams that took it seriously and got to Wembley got a good payday out of it. I just don't see, if people want to play in it, they want to play in it. If they don't, they don't. Why force this upon them? I don't know.
I don't know. I think Darren McAntony, the Peterborough chairman, put it as like it's the FA Cup for League 1 and League 2 teams as it was. It's their chance to get to Wembley. I think bar Barnsley last year, where they just lived at Wembley essentially.
Yeah. Did he also say, though, Darren McAntony, that I think he came out and said he voted for something completely different, and then they once they got the vote, they almost changed the rules on it. So I think even he was a little bit, actually we voted for it, but this isn't what I voted for. So
I think
seems a little bit silly.
It's a bit weird. I think they're adamant on changing. I think just at the moment we've gone through the EFL rebrand, the introduction of the Checkatrade Trophy as it is. They are going to be changing something, and it's already kind of got underway. But for me, it just seems to be it's taken that day away from the likes of Oxford when they went there, Peterborough, Chesterfield in recent years. They won't get to Wembley usually. You look at playoffs, yes, but for a domestic cup where you get to watch your team lift a domestic trophy at the end of it, they're not going to make the FA Cup final, they're not going to make the League Cup final. Bar Sheffield United the other year, it's not likely that they're going to get far in these tournaments. And I think it's just that dangerous territory of, well, if Stoke City and Norwich, I think Stoke are bottom, but you know what I mean, where if those two teams get there, it's a case of, well, you've kind of taken the place of a team who's kind of earned it in a way, or should be there in their place. So
I just don't think it suits anyone, does it? And I think the sooner those under 23 teams are out, then the better for everyone else. I think people then might start to take it seriously again.
I think as well, where this whole rebrand of the EFL, looking at this League 3, they said, well, they want to get rid of fixture congestion and then go and revamp the Checkatrade Trophy and make it into group stages where you got to play free, and you might not even get anywhere, you might go out at the end of it. So it just seems, I agree completely that it needed a revamp. I think the Johnson's Paint Trophy, maybe because it was called the Johnson's Paint Trophy, I don't know, but the interest wasn't that great in it for some teams. So I think a revamp was needed, but this has just gone completely the opposite way. It's just not working.
It's just not working. But I guess for a team, we go back to Bradford and mention that, no Rory McCardle, Matt Kilgallen can't get in the team, and players like that. Bradford can still put out a pretty strong team, can't they?
Definitely,
I remember before the last game, he said, I'm just going to make loads of changes, but the team he put out was still a decent team. You've got to fancy Bradford will be up there.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like we said, we spoke about them in the league, but anytime you can win a trophy, it does well, and, people say, oh, well, it's kind of extra games to play, but as Barnsley showed, they can win it. You can win that and then still go up and be successful in the league. So you do fancy them, and it does work in favour of squads like that who, like Bradford, they're a Football League team. They should really be in the competition. They would have been in the old format. And they've got that selection there, whereas maybe that's their one-up on these B teams, etc. The Premier League teams that are in that have only got a select pool, because they're not going to. You're not going to be throwing. You're not going to be throwing first-team players into it. I don't think Stoke are going to line up with Bojan and Arnautovic and that in their squad. So they haven't got that luxury, whereas Bradford have. But it's that of how many first-team players you've got to play. You've got to play this many who have played regular games. But in Bradford's case, they've got the squad there. Why can't they be allowed to pick whichever team they want to? I think if it's your squad, if you picked a squad of players, it's like Ian Holloway said the other year, wasn't it, when he was at Blackpool, was it, where he got criticised for, when they were in the Premier League, for rotating his squad for a game against Man United, and he said, well, you know, I've picked them because they're good enough.
Well,
I
he's
think they're good enough to be
25, he names them and then uses them all, and then he gets told off.
Exactly, it's that case. If you're naming a squad, you're naming players who are good enough to be there, you know, 99% of the time. So I think it should be a case of, you know, if they are adamant to carry it on like this, you've got to get rid of that rule. You've got to let teams play the squad they want and not say, right, you've got to play just because this player's played this many, he has to play. No, if you picked a squad, surely they've got to be good enough to play.
Very good, very good.